And just curious, why would somebody only ask for 10% down where, if it's a rental property, usually banks are looking for a 25% down or 20 minimum?
Well, if it's owner occupied, okay, I'm just sharing fundamentals and standards in the note industry. Note buyers look at a 10% down as adequate for an owner occupied. Now, if this was an investor, non-owner occupied, I would want 20% plus down payment because, there's something to that emotional connection. Like a family just doesn't want to have to, their kids go to the school down the street. They're involved in the church. Everything has to fall apart really hard before they're going to walk away. An investor is just looking at numbers. And in some ways that's a benefit. And sometimes that's, they don't have as much skin in the game, right? More is better unless you're trying to minimize capital gains, if that's more of the play, right? Now,
I kind of look at it like if they stop paying, it's going to take me a year to get them out of there, and I want that year covered. That's basically the way I look at it.
Now, depending on what state, it could take 5 to 12 months, even in deed of trust states. Faster in states like Texas, Georgia. Gosh, Texas, I think it only took 2 months. And I just foreclosed on a couple earlier this month. And then your judicial states, right, where it's not deed of trust, you could take 2 to 3 years to foreclose, right? So definitely you have to think of that. So there's a reason that conventional loans are 20% down because statistically speaking, when someone puts 20% down, the risk of financial loss for a lender is way, 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 way down. Okay, so more is better unless, so if I was really, in fact, I was talking with a guy, this has been probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now, but he was selling a business and it was the sale price was $4 million and he's going, okay. And they're willing to give me $1 million down or a little bit more, but then I'm going to have this capital gains. And he goes, I really don't want to pay the capital gains. And anyway, so what we talked about is saying, well, it's fine to take less, but then I would ask for additional collateral. What do these guys, they're putting down probably 1.5 million, I think they must own other property. You can compensate, you could take a smaller down payment, but still compensate for the collateral security by cross collateralizing that loan with other properties, right? So that is.
I'm actually, I don't mean to take up all the air in this room here, but I do have a similar situation where I'm actually buying a business and it comes with the building.
Nice.
And the guy is giving me excellent terms.
Nice.
And very low down payment. Because I'm buying the business from him, and he's actually staying in the business 10%. If this deal happens, who knows? But that's one of the things that the property is worth $700,000, and I'm only putting down 10%, and he's going to hold a note for 5 years, interest only. And then after that, I'll probably wind up buying out. But the business I'm buying, he started it when he was a kid. Well, he's still very young, but that's enough revenue in the business to pay for both the business and the building.
That's amazing. See,
we'll see if it happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just celebrate it and claim it. And if not this, something better, right? So when you're on the acquisition side, if you can get seller terms from someone who is wanting to maximize the price, and they're willing to offer terms, my goodness, if you had to go out and get a bank loan, how much would you have to put down? And what the interest rate would be 10% or plus or more, right? And
actually, the deal wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work at all. It wouldn't work at all. So these are the mom and pop deals. So if you're the buyer, you're trying to get terms that maximize your side of it. As the acquisition side, it doesn't support the value of his note, but he doesn't care because he's getting the price he wants for his property, right?
Exactly. He's
So
got the number in his head, and that's
he's
what I'm
got-
trying to match.
Yeah. So if he would have to, if he didn't offer terms, he'd have to make it sensible for someone who has to get 10% financing and put a bunch of money down, which means he probably have to drop his purchase price by 30%, is my guess.
Actually, that's what I used for him to come to Jesus, because I told him I went to the SBA.
Right.
I'm an SBA agent as well. And I said, look, the terms, this is what's going to happen. I said, there's no way that your bottom line is going to support this. He goes, well, I really want to, I want to take care of my employees. I want to do this. I want to do that. I says, okay, then just give me terms. So
Exactly.
again, we'll see what happens. Talk is cheap until the contract's signed and the check passes.
That's true, but it brings up a great point. Now I'm going to look at chat. Hey, Don, sorry, I got to take a call. Jim, thank you. And hello from Houston. Oh, Mr. Sanchez, thank you for being here. So wonderful, wonderful. Oh, and guess what? Tomorrow, that property I accidentally took back at foreclosure closes. I'm so happy. I was on title it'll only be 5 days on title. Thank goodness, I didn't put the opening bid low enough, so I ended up back with it. But yay, got turned around quick. So that was good. All right, so
one quick question, Dawn, and I'll be quiet after this.
Okay.
If after a couple of years, this guy here creates his own note for me after like the 4 or 5 years, is that something you're interested in?
Okay, let's talk about because here's the deal. Him creating a good value for you is not good for him in terms of present value. Now, over time, it's great for him, but in terms of present value, anything that makes it better than average for you as the buyer makes it less than average for him.